Just so it's not the back of your head. My bald spot. I didn't say that.
All right. We're almost there. Okay, and now I have to go back to. Hold on here. Okay, got it. And record, right? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you so much. All right, well, we'll start tonight with the approval of the minutes and the town clerk report.
So the approval of the November clerk report and the acceptance of the November 10th special meeting, the November 15th workshop meeting, and the November 18th board meeting minutes.
I move that we accept those minutes as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the bills?
Do we have one? Does that include your report?
Yeah, I said November.
Yeah.
General bills number 18902 through 18931. Highway bills number 18932 through 18945. And water bills number 3083 through 3085.
I move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So my supervisor statement tonight is a recap of the last 4 years, which has been an incredible time, I think, for me and for the town, and hopefully for, I think, all of us here. We've gotten a lot done the last 4 years, to wit. We launched and maintained a new user-friendly website. We hired a fantastic planning company and launched the comprehensive plan update that culminated in January of 2020. And we did that with a grant from the Greenway Grant Foundation. We brought a recovery coach to Pine Plains for people with addiction. We took the comprehensive plan update and launched the zoning review that led to the text and map changes in zoning to correct some problems in our zoning. We created a broadband committee, which did incredible work mapping internet service and now serving on another committee with the county. We became a clean energy community and climate smart community with NYSERDA providing grants to the town for environmental projects. And we received, one of those grants was to install the EV charging station to bring eco-tourists to town. We launched the feasibility study for a small, innovative central septic system to basically create economic opportunities in Pine Plains, and wrote and received grants for every phase of it so far. We were able to buy 2 derelict properties and continue the demolition on them so that hopefully someday the new town hall can be right there in the middle of downtown. Right on the municipal parking lot. We did a lot of repairs of all our facilities. We maintained the budget and created the sweep account for an extra revenue stream. Wrote and received a $70,000 grant to build an all abilities playground, as well as a grant to purchase 2 grit all-terrain wheelchairs, so people with physical challenges can get to our beach and trails. We wrote the mandated police reform policy with stakeholders committee, which was pretty incredible, of Brenda Jackson, Lisa Machete, Nelson Zayas, Sarah Jones, and Kiri Hannon. We spearheaded the bridge repair for Willowvale Road and speed reductions for 8 roads. We contacted and began negotiations with the Catholic Archdiocese on the 21 acres in the middle of town, and negotiations for acreage for the possible central septic, a possible affordable housing development, or a park. We wrote the mandated emergency action policy We created the Standing Zoning Review Committee. We liaisoned with the Durst organization and hosted their representatives through numerous public meetings and general meetings regarding the Hudson Valley project. We helped found the Tri-Town Coalition for Affordable Housing and work with, has begun now with Hudson River Housing to purchase the already built condos at Town Center for permanent affordable rentals for the town. We handled town business and kept all the departments going during an unprecedented and historic pandemic, which included learning new technologies like Zoom for conducting remote meetings and filming all the meetings. I began and wrote Deer Pine Plains, which is a weekly newsletter. We wrote numerous white papers on all the town projects, which are all up on the website. We requested and received the repaving of State Roads 199 East and West. I have been serving as a member of the Grants Committee to the county, the Dutchess County Affordable Housing Committee, and the Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors. I was on the executive board there and a secretary. None of these accomplishments could have been done without the support of an extraordinary group of people employed by the town. It's been my privilege to get to work with them. I loved every minute of that, and I will miss our camaraderie immensely. So that's not the only thing I have for my statement. I would like to, if you'll bear with me. I would like to show you. Every year, I have applied since I got into office for what's called a DRI grant, which is the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. So no little town has ever won one. And the feedback I've gotten on the grant is that they really like the application. It takes about 6 years to get one of these things because every step they want you to get closer to having accomplished some of your projects yourself. You have to, in a way, be shovel ready for them to give you $10 million. So it's a $10 million grant. I decided to dream big, and I've been writing it every year. And I believe that if we continue to write it every year, we're going to get it. It just may be 2 or 3 more years. But you have to keep applying. And that's kind of the game in a way. So they did write to me when I submitted this year's, and they said, well, there's some finalists and we're asking you to make a video. So I called Patrick Trentanero and I said, we have no money. Can you help me make a video? And we put this together.
This is a friendly town set in the beautiful countryside. Small, it's beautiful.
I'm gonna love the beauty of Pine Plains. The best thing about it is a small town, it's a village, and I love it.
Our comprehensive plan focuses on keeping the rural character of the town, and we've succeeded.
The town itself is walkable, very friendly people. It's just down about 7 o'clock though, so if you're gonna get something, you do before 7.
All those little things add up to make it feel very much like a place you want to settle and call home.
It's not Mayberry, but it's the next closest thing we've got in Dutchess County.
Everybody knows each other, a lot of people go out and help each other.
People look out for each other and care for each other.
We all know each other so well, and we live like a family in this town.
It is a town with a long history of working together and creating even our traditions together.
It is a small, quaint rural town with a lot of personality. You'd be surprised at what you could find here in the middle of nowhere.
We are still a farming community. We have an FFA program, Future Farmers of America.
This weekend was the Ag Fair, which was probably something that's pretty unique to this area. Virtually everybody in town came out for it. We do the same thing, town decorating day. Memorial Day, yeah, there's a huge sense of community. There really is.
We have a local police department, which I'm part of. We have a local fire department, which I'm also a part of. I'm also a member of the local American Legion and the VFW.
We have multiple churches with active congregations, the Garden Club, the Lions Club.
We have an arts center right in the middle of town.
We have a local food pantry here that help people out inside the community.
Wonderful community to live in. I raised 3 children here. They went to school here, and the community is so good that you cannot match anywhere else, whether it's New York State or any other state.
I've definitely seen a lot of good things happen in Pennsylvania, especially when we first went into COVID. We actually band together as a town.
The community always finds a way to come together, no matter what differences we might have at the end of the day, we're always there to support each other. Even at the time that we've been here, we've seen a lot of change, but change for the better, you know, new businesses, some have come and gone, but new people, new ideas, but I think it's all been to the benefit of town. It has added to the character, it has added to the community, and so I look forward to seeing what happens next. And what makes Pine Plains truly unique is its ability to hold on to its agricultural roots while still looking forward to the future and growth.
I can see this town growing and not changing as a community.
For the future of Pine Plains, we need a more lively business district.
I think we can do a lot to improve the center of the town.
It would be great if there were more businesses here in town. There are limited possibilities at this point. People who try to open new businesses are very much limited as to what they can do because of the septic systems, which don't allow for a whole heck of a lot. If we did have a municipal sewer system, I think that would transform things for us.
I definitely support central septic system because that will bring Pine Plains into the 21st century.
You really do need a sewage system in the village. There's no question about it.
Because it inhibits our ability to service the community and grow as a business because we are limited to the number of seats that we can serve due to septic runoff issues.
Dutchess County regulations are much more stringent than Columbia State, for example, or Ulster.
Board of Health regulations have made a double expansion for tanks nowadays. Our lots are not big enough in the middle of town in our business district. If a septic was to fail, for those businesses to put in a new septic, or like we have one restaurant now that got the capacity cut in half.
It's almost impossible in such a small geographic location for each of the businesses to have their own septic system and then also have the expansion area that is required by the county. So I think it would make a huge difference.
I do believe we need a septic system. I support it 100%. Pine Plains is one of only 5 towns in Dutchess County that has everything walkable.
From my house to the grocery store, I can walk to the bank, I can walk everywhere but town hall.
I believe we might be the only town in Dutchess County that does not have a town hall inside the town.
Absolutely, town hall has to be in the center of town.
Right now, the town hall is kind of obsolete because it's older technology. It really needs, we would spend probably more money investing in it to update it than just to maybe try to build a new town hall.
Our town hall right now, our assessors are in a trailer behind it. Our police department is in a basement. Our courtroom is in a basement.
Unanimously, businesses are thrilled to get the town hall back in the center of town.
It'd be more centralized in town to where elderly people that don't drive can walk or can wheelchair to the town hall.
Instead of traveling way outside of town, to have it right in town where they can just pretty much walk out their front door, walk a few blocks down the road and get the information that they need. And to have that face to face with people that they know are the representatives.
I would so much love to have town hall sitting in the middle of town where all the activity for local government democracy takes place. We vote there, our court is there. To have our police right in the middle of downtown would be fantastic. It would be more accessible. All of us would be more accessible.
It's difficult getting all the way outside of town. You know, if it's a couple of miles away, it should really be in the center of it.
I don't know what idiots voted for the militant thing that the locals can do.
There's other things that could be done, like installing bike paths. Pine Plains is wooded areas, so there's a lot of areas that people can explore. We have Stissy Mountain, which has a fire tower on it, which people hike up, maybe somehow improve the trails.
I would just like to see sidewalks all the way out to the trailheads at the mountain and the Thompson Pond. And it would be really nice if we had one, a way for residents to just easily get out there on their own, but two, to have visitors to town come specifically to hike the fire tower, an easy way for them to just come into town and get lunch.
The importance of bike paths to our beautiful recreational areas is extremely important.
That's my transportation is my bicycle. And I'm all over the town on my bike, so it's like, well, hazardous sometimes, but I think we have a central bike path, it would be great.
I think if we were able to bring a central septic system to Pine Plains and bring town hall into town, the vibrancy that that would create in both economic development, the kind of opportunities that it presents for young people to open businesses, it's imperative to the future.
It's something that we need to look at, something that I think is going to hold back the town until it happens.
If you're going to have a viable town, you have to provide the necessary infrastructure to make it happen. Doesn't everybody know that?
I am optimistic about the future of Pine Plains.
And I'm very optimistic that the things changing in town will only bring good things to the community.
I do think that revitalization of the town center will help retain and attract new, younger families to Pine Plains.
I would absolutely revitalize the center of town, there's no question about it. And I'm very thrilled at the people who have come to town and are doing that. They're saving buildings, creating businesses.
But I think Pine Plains is on a great path.
I think it can definitely be the next up and coming town in Upper Dutchess County.
One of the things that makes Pine Plains unique, and I have always loved about it, and I think the reason why a lot of us who graduated 10, 15 years ago said we were leaving, and we did, and going back is, it has its rural roots, and you have all those old farm families that have always been here, and they're still working, and that agriculture base is still there, but the town has expanded to include different ethnicities and different cultures. It's a lot of tying in things that you wouldn't expect one town to hold together, and we do it in such a way it doesn't seem like the culture shock you would think it would be.
I would love to see my two kids want to have a place in Pine Plains and roll next to their mom and dad.
Good things happen in Pine Plains.
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 Good things do happen in Pine Plains.
Oh, that was great.
Awesome.
That was
Awesome.
great. Well done.
I just want to take this time an opportunity
Welcome,
to
everyone.
uh,
Thank you so much for joining us.
recognize Dara and the
Healthy
work.
and safe and so on.
Hold on a second, we just
Okay.
give it
My name is Lisa Mason. I serve as Vice President of Engagement.
Is that my YouTube? Okay,
And
let's see.
You're familiar with us.
Sorry.
We're a statewide organization serving grant makers, operating nonprofits, and advisors. And our mission is to build a vibrant social impact sector. That you're part of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to my, I think it's
Today.
Google Chrome.
And we are also very glad to be partnering with TED Village at Risk Alternatives to learn more about risk.
Oh, how weird.
Time to be learning about it.
Yeah, just click on that window, yeah, click right now. Yeah.
Where?
Click right there. Right there.
I turned it over to Ted just to.
Where I am?
Housekeeping reminders.
No.
All right, exit out of that.
For audio.
No, I can't.
Muted, but
Oh, dear.
Can you mute it?
So you can send any questions.
Just turn the sound down for a minute.
Today.
Yeah, minimize it.
Questions, sorry, not all conversations with each other, I encourage you to type that in.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, we just got a tutorial on risk management.
Thank
Send
you.
the kid in. Send the
Thank
kid in.
Thank you, youngster.
Technology.
Ask a millennial.
All right, I'll start over. I want to take this time to acknowledge the incredible contribution Dara has made to this town, and all of those accomplishments which she's gone through are really as a remarkable accomplishment. And I want to thank you for your leadership of this board, and also say that this is a board that has worked incredibly well together. We've really had a good time here at our meetings, and we've juggled a lot of things. And Dara started out on the first day, there was a complete disaster at the highway department. The first day, right until up to here, where she has completed this film to make it possible for us to go forward and try to get this incredible grant. And it's really just remarkable and should be truly acknowledged by this. And we are in a great place to go forward. And I look forward to being able to go forward on a lot of these projects that we have undertaken. Thank you, Dara.
Thank you very much. I know it's a pain in your. Thank you. All
On that
right.
same note, I'd like to thank Rory.
Yes, I meant to do that too.
Rory is leaving us, and sadly, we're leaving you, because I had great hopes for you. And thank you.
Well, thank you, Donna.
You'll be back.
You'll be back. I would seize the mic only to say thank you to you all. I've learned really so much. It's amazing. You know, you two, especially in our institutions here.
Yeah, we're old. We're old.
But it's fascinating.
2 more years.
It's, the things that transpire on this side of the table, you would never know from the out. You don't know until you're here really how it works. But you guys are real resources. I agree with you, Darren. You've been indefatigable in your efforts. But it's been the honor of a lifetime myself to serve with you all. And I'm very grateful.
Well, we have certainly enjoyed having you here.
Much obliged.
Yeah.
Matt
Thanks.
and Brian and Bob, welcome. Look forward to the next couple of years. Thank you.
All right. With that, we'll go to public comment. I have 2 little ones and a little bit of a long one. The first one was from 2 citizens who live at actually different ends of things. They wish we would look into reducing the speed limit on Route 199 east to 45, the way it is when you go west. It's 45 now, all the way from town center to the Taconic, really, right? Yeah. And they live on this side, and there has been a really scary near miss with a school bus that was, what, 6 months ago, last year. And the trucks that barrel down the hill are scaring people. And so at least these 2 people had told me that they really wanted this issue to come up. So, and then one of our teenage members of the civics class is asking for a dog park. So I just thought I'd mention it. I always respond to those letters. They write for the class, they have to write a letter. And so I gave her my opinion, but I told her it was up to the board. And the last one is this, and it's from Pastor Ryan of the First United Presbyterian Church. To the civic leaders of Pine Plains, I write you to express my thanks for your service. I have witnessed through friends and anecdotes, public service as yours is full of many days of hearing grievance and few pure celebrations. Today, I write as a citizen and pastor of Pine Plains. It seems much more so recently that when I walk Pine Plains, I see that people are using their front yards to display signage that does not bond the community, but hurts the bonds and hurts the readers. I speak of the signs that say, "Let's go Brandon." There are also the signs that point to racist ways favoring the male gender and favoring heterosexuals while denigrating those who love a fellow adult outside of traditional majority norms. On another tier, there are signs that attack a person whom one is against, rather than promote a favored political candidate. In specifics, I speak of the "Let's Go Brandon" signs on private home front yards. This phrase is easily found to mean expletive President Joseph Biden. The literal use of that expletive is a wish that the subject be raped. It has certainly taken on a less literal meaning, yet the strongest form remains. I have some of my greatest days walking in Pine Plains alongside a child in the role of their pastor. One is old enough to read. They may well ask, upon seeing one or more of these signs, what does that seemingly nonsensical phrase mean? Then a parent, guardian, or family member, friend, or even pastor or social worker has to find a way to explain why a neighbor whom the child may know has a wish that the president, specifically Joe Biden, be harmed and is hated. Further, the name Brandon comes from a person made famous by racing automobiles, and the phrase was invented by mistake on a day he won his first race in the highest form of motorsports in which he's raced. Now his full-time career is in jeopardy because those who would pay to advertise on his car are reluctant to be associated with hate of a US president, especially in these troubled times for our nation. I also want to live in a town where one can proclaim their support of Walsh or Cloud or whoever comes after them without being anti-anyone. So I hope this community will end signs like "anybody but Cloud" as a personal opposition and instead by pro-whomever. I honor that we have the important non-negotiable First Amendment of the US Constitution, so this is not a call to action for the Pine Plains government or other government officials. This is a plea to anyone who reads to do better with what we share in our yards and with our voices, whether they be in person, on the phone, on social media, in print, in video, on the radio, etc. All are welcome to come to the shelter and respite that our churches in Pine Plains, including the Presbyterian one that I attend. There is no political test nor any ever been rightly allowed in a church. If any would come to us as a racist who needs help in change, they would be loved and offered help in healing. In peace, Reverend Ryan Larkin. Okay, thank you.
I got one quick one. First of all, thank you, Rory and Dara, for your time and service. And then the second one, the ice rink is up. We are filling the ice rink. It is very important that we stay off the ice rink until it's ready. I already saw some comments like on social media saying, hopefully we'll be able to skate between Christmas and New Year's. It's not looking like that if you look at the weather. All New York City's ice rinks have refrigeration underneath them. That's why they are skated in New York City. We do not. So we will post when we are ready to go. It may look ready to your eye, but it might not be. We have to take all the safety precautions so people do not fall through. And if we do crack it, it takes even longer to open because we have to refreeze it and get the humps out. So please, cooperation is necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Warren, and we have here Taylor Young from BFJ Planning. One of the smartest things we did as a group, I think, was hire BFJ Planning, and they've helped us with the Hudson Valley project as well as our comprehensive plan update.
I'm going to turn it over to Taylor to
Okay.
explain we had a two-phase set of amendments to our zoning code. First were technical changes to the text changes to the zoning law, which we completed several months ago. The second phase now is the map changes, a little bit more complicated. So I'll allow Taylor to explain the substance of those.
Yes, hello, greetings, Supervisor and members of the Town Board. It's great to be with you all tonight. Kind of picking up on what was said earlier by the Supervisor, this is a part of the work that was started in March by the Zoning Review Committee, and I'm excited to hear that it's now a standing committee. But this work was an offshoot of the comprehensive plan, which was done a few years ago. And as Warren said, this is the second part of what is so far a two-part, group of changes. We had text changes, which were kind of simple cleanup items meant to clarify the zoning code and make life easier for residents and businesses in Pine Plains. And this is the second part, which is remapping some parcels in the hamlet, in Pine Plains hamlet. And so all of these, the text changes and the map changes were thought of by the Zoning Review Committee with our assistance. But the main goals of these map changes, and the text changes and the map changes, were to make existing homes more in alignment with the zoning code, to make them less, I guess we say, less non-conforming, and to encourage, slightly more housing opportunities in the Pine Plains hamlet. And then also, with the proposed creation of the new light industrial district that was meant to support the existing kind of light industrial cluster that is there on the west side of town, or the west side of the hamlet center. And then also there's a few other, here and there zoning changes that were meant to match the zone with the use that's already there, make them more in line with the zoning change. So we submitted the proposed zoning changes to you, the Town Board, and with those changes, the Environmental Assessment Form Part 1, which includes a few different things, and you should have gotten that, I believe, earlier this week. But the Environmental Assessment Form includes an introduction, a description of what we call the proposed action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And that just goes through the different types of zoning changes. Then with that, we have the new light industrial district, and then in the other figures, or figure 5 starts the different uses that would be allowed in the light industrial district. But it gets to the key part, which is the full environmental assessment form, Part 1, which is the form required by the state. And when you're looking at the form, I just want to point out something, because this is a rezoning. So this is an area-wide action. It's a generic action, and there's a difference in generic actions and site-specific actions. We don't have any specific development proposal in front of us. This is just a rezoning. So lots of the portions of the form are left blank. So we are following the directions from New York State that says if we don't know what a development is, do not fill this in. Now, if a development comes in the future, and a development that requires an environmental review, they will still have to do all of that review and still have to fill in the entire form. This does not preclude any of that, but just that a heads up is why, if you're reviewing the EAF, why much of it is left blank. And then as our appendices, we did a development projection, and then an analysis of potential impacts. And the potential impacts that we considered here are school children. What number of school children would come up from the proposed development or increase in development that would accompany or could accompany the proposed map changes, and what traffic impacts could be by the new homes. And that is my quick rundown of the EAF. And Yeah, with that, I will turn it back to Warren.
So what I've done is I've taken the environmental assessment form, which explains in more detail than the local law, the changes in the zoning districts and the new light industrial district. And also attaches the amendments to the use regulations in the town that are going to apply to the light industrial district. And there are certain bulk regulations that are changed in our code, which are also part of the EAF. And I've taken all the work that was done by our planners, and I've created a local law that basically adopts, not basically, but does in fact, make those changes to the zoning law if the law is passed. I've also prepared and the law has a copy of the map showing the current zoning districts, and also a copy of the map that shows the change zoning districts, how they've changed. Very clearly legible. Also created a resolution commencing the local law adoption process. That's the first step in the process. Basically the resolution also determines that it's a type 1 action under seeker. We are the town board is the only involved agency under seeker, so we will assume lead agency status. The local law will need to be set down for a public hearing, and I provided for that in the draft resolution. The only decision you have to make tonight is when you're going to have the public hearing. It's a little bit more complex in terms of notices for this type of local law, because when you affect a change in the zoning district and you change your parcel, take it from one zoning district to another zoning district, the decisional law in the state of New York has required that the affected property owners have to be given special notice of that public hearing. So the resolution provides for the standard notice of the public hearing, which I will create and I'll provide to the town clerk, which would be published. It will be posted on our official board and our website, the resolution, together with the environmental assessment form part 1 and the proposed legislation, will also be referred to the Dutchess County Planning Board for their review pursuant to section 239M of the general municipal law. And they have 30 days in which to comment. I don't know whether they will weigh in on this or deem it to be a matter of local concern. The local law also has to be referred to our planning board pursuant to our town code for their comment and review, and they will make a recommendation, or they don't have to, but usually they will, to the town board on whether the local law should be adopted. The resolution also directs the town clerk to send notice to each of the affected property owners. It's actually not that complicated. We have a list that BFJ prepared for us, listing all the tax parcels that are affected by this local law. So it'll be just a matter of sending notice to those, enclosing a copy of the notice. We don't have to enclose a copy of the local law. The notice will tell them where to review the local law if they want to see it prior to the public hearing, but it will give them notice of the public hearing. That will comply with decisional law aspects of creating a law like this. We will conduct the public hearing on the date that you set tonight. Sometimes those public hearings, as you know, are not closed, they're continued. There may be a lot of questions. We would hope that BFJ would be with us at the next meeting to answer questions of the public. I'll be available to answer those questions from the public. And it's quite possible that we won't have a recommendation from Dutchess County Planning or the Planning Board in time for the meeting, depending on when we set it. So it's not impossible that the the public hearing would be adjourned to another date. Usually it might take 2 public hearing dates. So with that, I prepared the resolution for you. I think all we need to do is select a date for the public hearing. That's something you might want to discuss, whether you want to conduct it on a special night or if we want to conduct it on the same night that we have the next town board meeting. It might be a little tight to conduct the public hearing at the, when is the January meeting?
Let me look at my calendar here.
January 20th.
Yeah, I mean, with the holidays, I mean, we can shoot for January 20th and we can open the public hearing on that date.
21st. It's the 20, yeah,
That
Thursday.
certainly gives us enough time.
Oh, no,
to-
sorry, you're right.
Well, I mean,
22.
if we get the notice out to Dutchess County Planning, I'll help you with that. We do have a planning board meeting prior to that. I'm sure the planning board will be able to get their recommendation. If it's okay with you, we can shoot for the 20th and hope for the best. And so that's just a matter of amending the resolution to put in that date. Do we do it here, or do you think?
I would think that we almost should have a separate meeting and we should have it at the community center. Because there's a lot of people who are being changed in the Hamlet residential to the, I forget what the designation is, but I don't know, does anybody anticipate a lot of comment?
I haven't heard anything.
Anything of it? It's a question of understanding or not, but.
You never know until
Yeah.
you
conduct the
public hearing.
Well,
A
people
lot of
may
it may be
appear,
just confusion and maybe. that
exactly, just
people get a notice in the
informational.
mail and they don't
That's-
know how
that's
it's
what-
gonna
yeah.
affect their property
Yeah.
value. I do not think it's a bad idea we didn't really have any comments on the first page.
None.
I don't think it's a bad idea to set it down for a special meeting.
A special meeting in early February.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking also of the notification requirements that we
Yeah,
have to.
we have a lot of stuff to get together, so.
And what are the mailed notifications? What is the time requirement on that? Or
No, nothing, that's not a statutory requirement, it's actually a
okay.
a decisional law, through some cases which have held that when you do something like this, you really have to give notice to the public. So I think if we get that out within the week before the holidays and shoot for a meeting in February, I think that would be wiser. If BFJ can, we'd like to have you there, so obviously, so.
So the Monday before the town board meeting, is that like a?
So what are we
normal
talking?
Workshop would be?
That's the 14th.
Of February.
14?
That would be good.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Valentine's
Monday.
Day, perfect.
Gets me out of dinner.
You're gonna ruin Taylor's marriage.
It's Valentine's Day, maybe we can't do that.
The Monday before would be. the
I'd rather not have it on a Monday because that's.
He said the 17th. Oh, well, that's our normal workshop meeting.
Oh, is that your workshop meeting?
Yeah, we
Only
don't-
because I have,
A conflict.
I have town of Rhinebeck meetings on Mondays and I don't know what the schedule is for next year.
Hmm.
Would you have any objection to, we could do it on the 15th, on Tuesday, how would that work?
I mean, can we just do it 15 minutes before the meeting on Thursday, like open it a little bit early before our town board meeting at Thursday? You know what I mean? Instead of 7, like do 6:45.
Well.
Oh, you mean?
And we can have the whole meeting at the community center.
Well,
You know what I mean? It's not like.
We
have to
just
sit
have no,
up-
we have no
17th
idea
would be the
how much
next
input
Conference
there's gonna be.
meeting.
Yeah, but if there's, some, we can just not close it, like you said, and continue it and, pick it up in March.
So what we could do,
I'd
we
like
could
this
have the
to be
meeting,
Just one thing, okay.
have the regular meeting on the 17th. And if you like, at 7 o'clock and have the public hearing at say 5:30, would that work on that same day?
The same day as our regular meeting?
Yeah, or do you think that's too much to?
Do we need that long a period of time? An hour and a half? That would be an hour and a half?
We've
No,
done
so-
that before. We did that with
5:30.
something.
It was a long
Early
day. We
on.
regretted it.
That's why I was saying 15 minutes and we can get a feeler, like if a
Yeah,
ton of people
well,
show up and then,
I'd hate to send them home
I know,
Yeah.
people need to gonna have, if they come to the hearing, they need to have their say.
We just delay the board.
The only date I'd like to stay away from is the Monday, that's, because I don't know what my schedule is gonna be.
I can do that Tuesday. Well, I mean,
Tuesday's usually free for me.
I think we should do it on Thursday at 6 o'clock.
I'm okay with that.
So Thursday, the 17th?
No, it's.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
February.
20th.
January or February?
February.
February 17th at 6.
17th.
Yes.
How long do you think you would, we're gonna want a little bit of a dog and pony show from BFJ, if you don't mind. So we would want an enlarged copy of the map, and if it could be, do you think an hour's enough time for the public hearing and comment?
I mean, I of course defer to you all, but I think we can do, you know, a presentation as long or short as it needs to be. We actually just did one earlier this week in northern Westchester County in the town of Yorktown. And I think our part, you know, just reviewing the EAF and going over the zoning change, or there was a two-part zoning changes, and then we reviewed the EAF. And I think the whole presentation may have been half an hour. You know, here, I think because we are proposing new zoning, but only in a very small area. You know, we could go over, here's the differences, you know, kind of how does this affect you sort of thing. Like, here's the differences in, because the big rezoning is from, you know, the HR to the HCR. Let's review all these things and then discuss the impacts. I think we could do that, you know, like I said, 20 minutes. Could be longer, could be, you know.
So I'm thinking, let's try for 6 o'clock. If we run into the meeting, we can always run.
We can push the meeting.
We can push the meeting off. And it'll be a long night, but, and if we get a flood of questions or inquiries, we'll just schedule it for another,
That's a good.
you know, another night, that's all.
We don't have to cook. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Maybe some people stay and we get a bigger crowd.
Then do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, so you want to just make a motion to accept the resolution as amended with the date and time and the time.
All right,
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
all in, we need a roll call, right?
Yes.
Supervisor Cloud,
Aye.
Councilman Bartles.
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Zick.
Aye.
Okay, I'm a little bit of a leaving town Wednesday. So I will work with you before I leave. Maybe Monday would be a good day. You're gonna be around on Monday?
Yes.
If you give me a call, we'll go over everything on Monday, and I'll have a public hearing notice for you and tell you exactly what to do.
Okay.
Get it all organized.
And are we gonna just stay there for the board meeting instead of shuffling back up here? Because doesn't she have to put that in
Oh, so
her
we're-
regular notice? So we're gonna meet at the community center.
Okay, so that has to be stated in
Yeah.
the public hearing notice.
But even for our town board one that she normally puts in the paper, she has to state that it's at
Why
the
don't we
community
stay
center.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We
that's
stay
what
there.
I'm saying,
Like, I'm just
yeah.
telling her to make a note to
Yeah,
herself.
so you have to do a notice that the next meeting, the venue of the next meeting will be changed to the community center. Give the newspaper, our official newspaper, notice of that in writing and post it on the board and on our website so people know where it's at. And then we'll have a note here of that night, so if people come to the wrong place, they know where to go. There's one technical change in the law that I discovered when I went over the law that that when we did the last set of changes, we may not have, it doesn't look like we removed the reference, one of the references to NND. I don't know how that happened, but it could have been a mistake by general code, but what I did was I included that in the law. So we're taking that section out and making that the new light industrial section under our code.
Do we have to vote on making ourselves the lead agency?
It's in the resolution.
Okay, fine.
Also, do we have to, what about the text changes? We're doing another public hearing.
No, we're done with the text change.
We're done with that. Okay.
That was the only thing when I went over it and I found that one,
Yeah.
everything else was put into our.
Got it,
Which
okay.
everybody knows, the town code is you know, if you look on general code, you go online, you can find the town code. For some reason, that had not been changed, but everything else was changed.
Yeah, okay.
We're all-
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. Good to see
Thank
you.
you very much, guys. We appreciate it.
Good to see you all.
Say
Thank
hi
you.
to- Say hi to the baby.
I will do.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we just wanted to briefly discuss this idea of a ride-along with our police. And this is something that our police would like to do for the kids. And I know that your opinion on this.
I'm not a big fan of those types of things, but certainly that's fine with me if the town wants to do it.
Okay, we did work with NYMER, our insurance agent, to create this form.
Yeah, the form was fine.
The form is fine?
and, as long as we got the input from NYMER, we're complying with their input, then we're fine.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should just do a
Um,
formal resolution on it.
We need a formal resolution?
Yeah, the resolution would be a resolution approving the ride-along program.
Okay.
Which will, I guess, allow young members of the public to ride along with our police department. Show them what it's like to be a police officer, a peace officer.
Great.
That's basically what you guys.
John, you guys are good with it? Like,
Yeah.
I move that we undertake that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Very exciting. Okay. I got to ride along with the Denver police when I was studying for a play that I was writing. And it was harrowing.
I can imagine. I
Yeah.
don't think it'll be that hard.
Yeah.
We have a set of guidelines, so
NYMER sent us a whole thing. Me for the ride along?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when and where and under what circumstances the ride along is.
Yeah, I don't know that
Cancel.
we have that from the police department, so I think it's probably a good idea. I don't remember seeing that, but it's probably a good idea for them to develop something, so we know exactly what they're gonna be doing.
Do we have we gotten a copy of that?
Yes.
I mean, was it just now or?
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I didn't see it.
This is what,
Well, I'm not gonna.
no, I know that, but that's what we have so far. This is the work we did with NYMER.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm totally in favor of it.
I'm in
Yeah,
favor
we'll
of it,
wait
but I
for
do-
John
I
to put
do
a policy
find-
in place and
Yes,
offer
yeah, I
that.
would like to.
I don't think John would do it until he's ready anyway.
And John, not too many war stories about when you were a kid. You didn't hear that.
John.
Did
I
you know
said-
which one the taser is?
Oh,
I just said not too many war stories about what Pine Plains was when you were a kid.
That's in the vault, that's in the deep vault.
In the fifth.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, on that. The next thing is the Altice franchise agreement.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
so you have the red line copy.
yeah, let me talk to you about that.
Okay.
So we do this every 10 years. I think the usual is the cable vision contracts are usually a period of 10 years. So this is just the start of the process. It takes a while to get through this. They have submitted a proposed amended cable vision contract. It's going to require some internal discussion by the town board. You might want to do a workshop session and get some community input. Usually, I've done several of these. Usually, most people complain about why can't I get Disney Channel, or most of it is bad, and then complaining about loss of service and the fees. So you might want to start off with just sort of a workshop session. I'll take the time to review the contract. There's a lot of stuff in there that I may be able to identify that needs to be changed. But usually what I do is I send it on to the Public Service Commission. There's a section of the Public Service Commission that provides guidance for municipalities. They will review the contract, also the proposed contract, and they will let me know if there is anything in there that needs changes, if it's not in accordance with the rules and regulations of the statutes, Public Service Commission, and they change all the time. So the first thing I'm going to do is send that on to them. And then I think we should, maybe when we get through the public hearing, they're not in any rush. They're going to rush you, but it'll take a while. Maybe we should set up a workshop to go over that. We will also have to have a public hearing before, when we get the Cablevision contract into final form, will we make the changes to it? There's also a quid pro quo, a give back to the community that we should carefully look at to make sure that we're getting everything in terms of free services from the Cablevision company. So I'll try to identify those things. I'm probably going to need a list of what we get now. That could be supplied to me, so I know exactly where they're providing, are they providing free cable for the town hall or not?
No, they didn't give us anything.
Well, they're going to, we're going to work on that.
Well, that's in their new contract.
In the new contract, so they may already be offering those.
They are offering it.
But usually we can negotiate a little bit more than what they're offering.
Existing customers get the same price as newbies.
So I think maybe at the next meeting, I'll have reviewed by that time. I'll have reviewed it.
Okay.
And I can give you my initial input. I'm going to send it right on to Public Service Commission, and we can start working on this.
My concern is, what are the implications if this money does come through for, broadband construction, reconstruction, or extension? Is there anything in the contract that we aren't really aware of in the event that we suddenly get a windfall in which we can either hire another company or whatever? I mean, they have a non-exclusive.
They're non-exclusive. So.
Right, and so that's in there. It's just, there's a piece in there about they have to be offered the same package that we would offer someone else. So but that was just my concern. If suddenly Dutchess County undertakes a multi-million-dollar project to extend broadband to everybody, what does that mean with our contract with Altice?
I think everyone would still have to pay for their broadband probably, but
we don't know.
Subsidy might.
I just don't want to
push the service to places that doesn't exist already.
I'm sorry. It's unlikely that you're going to get another cable service provider that comes in. They seem to have this way of creating their own monopoly for towns. So I don't want you to be too encouraged that even though it's not exclusive, we're suddenly going to get another company in here.
We don't have Altice at the plant, right?
Consolidated.
Yeah, and he's that close, so there are companies that are.
It could be, but the important thing for us too is to make sure that they're paying their franchise fees. So I'll be talking with the town clerk on that to make sure that we're getting the franchise fees that we're supposed to be getting.
They've been good.
They've been coming in.
Okay,
so we may be in pretty good shape, in terms. They don't try to come in and slip one on you, but and they're not hard. They're not too hard to work with. So.
There seemed like there were quite a few changes from there seemed like there were quite a few changes between the old contract and the new contract.
Yeah, there are changes because there have been changes in the in the state legislation that they have to provide. But I want to make sure they've included everything, and then that's why I rely on the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
And then we may want to reach out to the school and see what they're getting and whether we can get some other benefits. But now's the time to do that, and it's going to take a while. We'll have a public hearing on this. I think a workshop, informal public hearing, and then eventually, when we do agree on a contract, It then goes before the Public Service Commission. It can take 6 months for them to approve it. So it doesn't happen that fast. So.
I mean, in order to schedule a meeting, I think we have to wait for the first of the year just to make sure it works with the new board coming in.
And the current, when does our current contract expire? The contract?
Well, February of 2022.
That's when it expires.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have something, we're not gonna have anything in place, but the existing contract continues.
Yeah.
Under the same terms, if they're required to comply with the contract till we get a new one, so.
Okay, then the last thing I had on your list was the permissive referendum for the sewer district map formation.
Yeah, if you recall, we had a resolution subject to a permissive referendum to go ahead with the map plan report. That was actually, when we do a permissive referendum, it really is supposed to be published in the paper, but it wasn't. So we probably could get away with just publishing it the next available date. But I think just as a matter of caution, I'd like you to just re-approve the resolution because it's supposed to be published within 10 days of the.
Okay.
So I've already talked to the town clerk about that and Alice about putting that in the paper. So if you could just repass that, I prepared a resolution for you to repass.
You have.
Somewhere.
Not sure we got it because I don't have it either.
Did you get it?
I wouldn't distribute it. The town clerk did.
Oh.
No, I actually did not.
Is it exactly the same as the last one?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Except it says restated or
Restate,
something.
okay.
like that. Let me see what- I have it. Could be that it didn't go out.
Well,
I may not have hit the hit button, but I have the
Okay.
old resolution.
we could
So-
just repass the old
So
resolution.
I'm just going to give you the old resolution and I'm just going to put the word restated.
Okay.
And it's exactly the same as the other one. So do you want
I move that we pass the resolution restating the original as offered by the town attorney, which is attorney to the town.
I'll second that.
I'll send you a clean copy if you need it.
Is that a roll call?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
Supervisor Cloud?
Aye.
Councilwoman Bartles?
Aye.
Councilman Chase?
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Zick?
Aye. And just so people are aware, right, this is already paid for with the grant that we received
Yes.
from the
Mhm.
Stewart study.
Yes.
We're not spending any extra money. It was already received in a
Yeah,
grant.
it's okay.
Yeah, we haven't spent
I'm
a
just
dime
pointing out,
on.
you know, just so
I mean,
it's
we
it's
have
the
it
next step in the
charged on the
process.
general fund, but it gets reimbursed.
Yes.
I have a couple of other things that, I don't know if you want to discuss this, if we planning on an executive session.
Yes, we are planning.
Okay, I'll discuss those.
Okay. Great, thank you. All right, Heather is not here. So I can just do her cover letter and then I don't know what you want to do without her being here about the kind of issues that she brings up, but we have completed all tree removal and stump grinding projects scheduled for this year. I am again providing the quotes for fuel tank replacement at the garage that I have obtained as preliminary budget numbers only from both Valley Energy and Optima Environmental Services. These are not prevailing wage estimates. I have expressed on numerous occasions over the years the importance of keeping the fueling capabilities on site and the need for replacement repairs on our original tanks. As I expressed in my latest email, with the possibility of the county changing the shared services fueling location for us, a decision should be made as soon as possible for the future of the tanks here at the garage. You should have all of the preliminary information that you need on this project. I recommend speaking with the town engineer with regards to bulk petroleum storage design regulations and prevailing wage procurement requirements. And then the third part of this is, as requested, I am providing 2 quotes for the new 6-wheeler as a general idea of pricing. As stated by the supplier, due to order calendar and pricing fluctuations, a new price will need to be obtained when the order board reopens. Hopefully, this will be sometime in January 2022. I am interested in option 2 4x4 model, but will need to verify specifications in depth before committing. So the real issue that we need to, I think, address is number 2, the fuel tanks.
I don't think without her here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's my feeling, but
Those are they're
big.
apples and oranges, the 2 quotes we got.
okay,
And especially if they don't, well, there's nothing to
Right.
talk about other than, possibly doing a formal request for, RFPs.
an RFP, yeah,
But at this point, we can't really.
okay,
Right, I think that's, again, she just went through the renewal process for the bulk storage
Mhm.
application with DEC, and so she wanted to make sure that at least it was on the town board's radar.
Right.
The recommendation to at least do something in the upcoming year, to make sure that those tanks remain in compliance.
I just want to know for sure that the county is saying no with the shared services, or they didn't say no, they just said that we have to either go to Amenia or
yeah,
Rhinebeck.
yeah, they
to
said we
get
were
fuel.
using too much.
Which is not a good idea. But we need to talk with her.
Okay. All right, Drew?
My report for November, building has slowed down a little bit. I issued 2 permits for the month of November. 81 for the total for the year so far, which is a lot. 14 new homes, 4 certificates of occupancy have been issued, 2 CO searches were done, and 15 site inspections were done. I want to let the board know that Stisson condos have started. They started phase 1, which is 10 houses. They started all the foundations. I think 3 of them foundations are completed. They started framing houses. So the roof is up. Also, I've been working on a pretty serious property maintenance issue on Hicks Hill. We were in court last night, and I just wanted to tell the board that it's been invaluable having the prosecutor
Great.
help me with this, because I've tried to muddle through this before on my own, and I'm just not that sure of the process, and it leaves me really unsettled. Having her do this with me is really been a huge help, so I really appreciate that.
She's done a very good job for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, I like working with her. Like, she's very responsive,
Mhm.
And simple questions, simple answers, really very easy to work with. And lastly, I just want to say that I've enjoyed working with Supervisor Cloud, Councilman Chase. We worked on some, projects together, short-term rental, solar law, all 3 of us worked together. We worked on the zoning revision, and really, I think we've done some good things for the town. I hope you do. But thank you. I've enjoyed the opportunity.
You too, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew.
Okay, police.
We had 15 hours of court, 196 hours of patrol, 2025 of admin, 8 hours of investigation, 15 hours of training, 26 of details, 6.5 of vehicle and other. We had 22 incidents, 4 fire and EMS, 3 property checks, 1 auto accident, 28 warnings, 23 UTTs issued, 1 arrest. We had 34 scheduled shifts, 40 shifts actually in total. I attended Dutchess County Chiefs meeting. Myself and Officer Cameron attended training on agency liability, use of force, and First Amendment. Myself, Sergeant Bellevue, Officers Cameron and Parada provide traffic control for Town Decorating Day and Parade of Lights. And I would like to thank you, Derek, for the past 4 years. I think that working together, you work closely with the police department. We made huge inroads, and all the policy changes and all the challenges that police are undergoing in the present time.
Thank
Also,
you.
Lori and the rest of the town board for working with us.
It was really great, John, and I, thank you. Okay. And all of you have this that John dropped off for us, which is kind of about the training that they've been going through. Water department?
Water usage has been up since last month by approximately 10,000 gallons. We're currently hanging around 60,000 gallons per day. That's due to a leak that we've been able to find down on Beach Road. We haven't been able to pinpoint it, but we know it's down in that area. We're able to send, using the new locator equipment that the water department had purchased this past year, we were able to at least identify the general area. Unfortunately, not being able to pinpoint it. I did have rural water down this past Tuesday to try to assist in pinpointing. They've been very good in the past to do that. But unfortunately, they did not have much luck compared to what we did. They came up with the same pinpoint location. It's a general area. It's down at towards the end of Beach. Unfortunately, that's the older portion of the system. It contains an old 2-inch galvanized line. And unfortunately, it has the least amount of documentation down towards Beach Road as well. So we do hear it on a service. We believe it's an old abandoned service line that may have gone to the old beach house or the beach building. And so we're going to have Mike George do exploratory excavation to expose the service line, see if we can shut the actual shut off and see if that takes care of it. If not, then we'll continue with trying to search and locate the leak. I'm going to meet up with Don tomorrow afternoon to see if we can locate the service line that heads over to the Lions Club. That's also been a bit of a mystery as far as that location. And my understanding is that there have been repairs that have been done in the past. Part of the line may be galvanized, part of it's copper, part of it's plastic. So we'll continue to see what we can do as far as finding it, obviously. But we're going to start with this excavation tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then we'll do Monday. But in the meantime, I'll get together with Don and see what we can find. I've also talked with Drew Weaver, or Doug Weaver.
I was just going to ask.
Because again, he has some old history down in that area when he
Well,
took care of the system.
he renovated that whole system.
Down in that area, yes.
Yeah.
I met up with him on Sunday and got some additional information from him. He's the one who said that that was his recollection that there was an old abandoned line. Whether it was turned off officially or not, he did not know. We're able to get a key onto the valve, but not close it. So that's why we're going to go ahead and excavate that. Hopefully that'll do the trick. If not, we'll continue. All right. Then I'm going to interview the homeowners down there as well, see if I can get into their houses and start tracing back from their houses to see if I can find that leak. Also, in addition to that, the chlorine delivery was made, so that hopefully, depending on flow, should last us about 6 months. But again, if flows are higher, then obviously we'll be going through more chlorine than usual. And then we're going to be taking meter readings at the end of this month and sending out bills to beginning of January. From engineering standpoint, there were a few questions that came up on 8 and 12 North Main, 2 unforeseen conditions. One had to do with, a third one had to do with the water line. So the water line was shut off heading into 8 North Main, but never physically disconnected. So when they opened up, there's a valve on the pipe on the inside of the building. When they opened that up, a little trickle was coming out. We have arranged, the contractor is going to be on site tomorrow since his excavator is still on site. He's going to be doing some work on site. I've arranged to have Mike George just stop in and formally cut and cap that line outside of the foundation. The contractor will do the excavation. He said he didn't have an issue doing that since he has this piece of equipment, and that way Mike doesn't have to mobilize his backhoe. So that'll be done tomorrow morning. It's anticipated the contractor will be there at 8 and Mike will be in at that time. The 2 other unknown items, there were 2 buried structures. One was an old dry well located at 12 North Main. It was approximately 6 feet in diameter, maybe 6 feet deep, consisted of laid up cinder blocks on their side, which was pretty common for an old dry well. That's the way that they were constructed by hand.
Wasn't a drinking well.
No,
It was a dry well.
No, that's the other structure. That was
Well,
the other structure.
there's another one, but
But this one was dry. There was no liquid in it. There was no sludge in the bottom or anything like that. There was no odors coming from the unit. So my recommendation to the town board, as well as to provide information to the contractors, just have them collapse the top and fill it, as far as that is concerned. The other unknown structure was actually what I believe to be a cistern. That's what the contractor referred to as a well. Originally he indicated it was 30 feet deep. Not sure exactly how that number came about, but it was an old cistern that it was actually located underneath part of the building. I guess it was underneath one of the porches that basically that were added on over time. But it's a cast in place concrete structure, approximately 8 feet in diameter, 8 feet in depth. It had 2 compartments. Everything, and the contractor indicated that there was an old lead line that came through there. My opinion is that it was an old cistern that was used at the house prior to being connected to the water system, again, based on the age of the house and so forth. So again, similarly, there was just about a foot of water in the bottom. I actually took some large boulders and pieces of concrete, dropped it in to make sure it didn't drop 30 feet. It hit the bottom, so there's obviously a concrete bottom in the bottom of it, but it appears to be just about 12 inches of water in it. The water, again, no odors. It's not a wastewater item or anything like that. So similarly, recommendation is to collapse the top and fill it in. So I've directed the contractor to move forward with both of those. My understanding is contractor will be on site tomorrow. They'll also be bringing in additional fill materials over the weekend, and they hope to finish up by Monday or Tuesday of next week as far as fine grading.
and I know that community garden people are salivating over that land for the next, until we build something. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and then I just have one, if I could just, an executive session, if I could move the board on that as well.
Michael, recreation?
Yeah, so we just completed the order for the wheelchairs that I asked about last board meeting, which is pretty awesome. So I'm pretty excited about that. Last week, I received a request from Coach Strudwick. He runs our town wrestling program. If it was possible to purchase about $7 grand worth of equipment. It was last minute, so I obviously said, I have to ask the board about that. We have about 11 grand left in unspent salary from the beach line. And that looks like the one spot where we would be able to get the money for that from. Coach Strudwick's been running the program for years, since before my time as rec director. And if he says he needs it, he most likely does. When I met with him a few months ago asking what he needed, I was hoping I would get that information sooner. But his goal with these mats that he intends to purchase, or would like us to purchase, is they're movable and easy to store, a lot lighter for people to set up and move. And as part of his program, he wants it to expand and be able to be used in the school and school facilities. And these lighter weight mats that serve the same purpose for wrestling would enable him to use whatever spaces the school has available. Because the issue for his program lately has been, wanting school access. I know with COVID and stuff these past 2 years, you can't really wrestle people. But before that, the issue was storage and access in the school. And so this will help him bridge that gap. I wasn't too thrilled that it was last minute, but I believe he had a conversation with you, Councilman Zick, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. Also, I just want to say it's always great working with you folks, and in the future, definitely reach out. You guys have my number and contact info, and we can keep working together. So that's kind of what I have.
So I did meet with the coach down at the wrestling. The mats down there were purchased used. They are super hard. These ones will be softer that they're getting. Like I wouldn't want to be slammed on that down there. He's had upwards of 25 kids in the program at one time and families. And he's pretty low, like low maintenance, like, so I think that it's a program that really hasn't been receiving any funds or asking for any funds. And if it's available in the recreation department, I think it is a good purchase.
They also raised.
I would also like to
over
say though, for
$2,000,
the
right?
wrestling thing, if you do have a little extra money and we can get some ear protection. 'cause-
So I had talked to them about that, and so last year, it was really hard for the program when it came to COVID, what they're allowed to do, and, coach not be, like, I'm in the school, so I was dealing with all this stuff, and told him what he should do, how he can do it, and how we can keep wrestling going. And they were able to do their workouts and training without, having to shut down the program completely. And I talked with him on stuff because for years he's been trying to get a program in the school, not just, a town program, but also a school program. And I said, well, you kind of have to do what we did with softball, which is get parents involved, get a small committee going, work on your fundraising and that sort of stuff. And recently they held a fundraiser, they raised about $2,500. And he's hoping that, and I'm also hoping that they'll be able to fundraise for the equipment they need that would also cover the ear protection, stuff like that. Because my goal has been to make sure all our programs operate essentially at cost, or, when we have to buy a piece of equipment, like a playground that you buy once and you have for 10 years. So he actually also asked to do a line item similar to the banner line item that we have, where as money comes in, he can spend it. I wasn't too crazy about that because, it's taken me a while to make sure I know where everything is and how everything is accounted for. I would defer that to you guys, and Matt had a conversation with him. So, my recommendation would be is we, have them do their fundraisers, figure out how much revenue they typically bring in, and have, when people donate it, they write wrestling. And then in the future, we have that wrestling line item when we have that anticipated revenue, known to us. So that was kind of my.
That's tricky.
Michael, is the wrestling program actually town recreation?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so it's not a school program. So.
Oh, I knew that, but I thought it was kind of like a league, a pickup program. I didn't really know that it came under the your direct control.
Yes. So, it was one of those things that was in existence before I went in. I didn't want to come in and paint the library and tell people how to do stuff. And I was like, as programs went on, I would inventory them, talk to the people that run them. He's been doing it for a while. They've always operated in the library basement. They had tried to do some stuff in the school, but then, like I said, the space and access became an issue for them, which is how they ended up in the library basement.
Right.
And then they had just been kind of operating, on their own in terms of what they do. The way the program works is everyone participates in the town part. So it's called rolling, when you practice, you're rolling with somebody. People in the club are encouraged to join USA Wrestling. And then that allows you to go to USA Wrestling meets, that are sanctioned wherever as an individual. And then Coach Strudwick can go to those meets as well and, provide advice or whatever. So it's a town program that Coach participates in and runs. And then in order for people to compete outside or them to go to tournaments, they do it on their own as part of USA Wrestling. Does that make sense?
Not totally, but that's fine.
And also with these new mats, these rollaway movable mats, it is very dark down in that basement. He said he likes the tough atmosphere, to toughen them up a little bit. But these mats would also allow them to move upstairs, which would allow us to move some of those mats and everything downstairs and almost give an equal divide to the library. How they were saying that they wanted more organization and the wrestling was slowly like creeping. Like it would give the library a little bit more room for their stuff as well, because they would be able to roll up these mats.
Yeah, that's another discussion, another conversation.
Well, but I'm just putting it out there, like there's other options.
It's the community center, it's not the library, just please remember that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing too, is like wrestling's always operated there. And like I said, I've got a good relationship with the school's athletic director. We can both coach football together.
No,
And I talk
I thought it was a club. I didn't think it was actually part of the town rec.
Yes, so
But-
it's a club through the town.
Which is, okay. The other thing I had, wasn't the money that you're talking about spending though, money that you had already earmarked to put aside for the playground equipment?
Well, that was my plan, which is why, I wasn't too thrilled that it was a last minute
Right.
request. They did raise, like I said, $2,500. So, like I said, I mean, that was up to the board. I would hope that any, excess revenue we brought in and any unexpended money could be put towards the playground, because that's my main objective, but I wasn't just gonna ignore that request and, be like, oh, someone's asking me for something. I want to be as transparent as possible and let you folks know.
But your equipment line will be renewed after the first of the year.
Yes.
And so what is the thought on using your upcoming equipment line for this?
Well, so my thought would be it would be a lot easier to use my upcoming equipment line, because in reality, the major projects and major spending that I would be doing, would be playground stuff like that. A lot of our programs, run on their own. We collect all the money back. Not until we got the grant for the wheelchair did I need to spend, the remaining fund of my contractual expense. So either way, I think it can happen. If we did the line where it's like a banner money line, where whatever they raise, then they can go to it, then I can easily worry about it next year. But like I said, he's been running the program for a while and had the concern. And I don't want to be fair to that.
So that $2,500 the group raised, they're not promised that money back to them for the purpose for which they fundraised for? They don't have any control over it?
They don't at this point, the way we're,
No, it
Yeah.
goes into
yeah,
the
it goes into
the
the general.
fund, and he's been doing fundraisers for years.
Yeah.
And,
The only-
so in
the
the
only
back of
thing
his mind,
that's
I think
tricky
he thinks
about
like he was
that,
gonna
though,
get it at one point, but.
The only thing that's tricky about that though, which is why I've been, digging into all of it, is they would raise that money on themselves and spend it themselves. You know
So
what I
they
mean?
never
Like
handed
it
it
never
to
ended
them.
up here,
Okay.
which
Yeah,
is
that's-
not allowed. And that's
That's
why this past year, as the pandemic has gone on, I've, taken a look at it because, it's not how it should be. And in the effort to bring it up to speed to where it should be without, limiting a program that people use.
So can Mike encumber those funds as a department chair for the purpose that they were raised for? If he'd ask us to do that for him?
Well, they handed in their money of their, it was fundraiser, did they not?
5,000, which was for the,
No, the 2,500 for the
I
wrestling.
haven't seen that. I only got their fees, the wrestling fees, which was about $1,100.
Oh, I think where's that money? Because he was in here.
Yeah, he said he was gonna turn that.
Yeah, that's money
what
is
he
coming
told me,
in.
because I told
Yeah.
him that if he was to use the $2,500 that he just did with his fundraiser to go towards the mats, that the board would probably be a little bit more for it, because it's, they just raised money, that's what he want, you know what I mean? They put this together, try to raise that money.
That seems like the obvious right thing to do, I think, unless I'm misunderstanding what's going on here.
Yeah, their money,
Yeah.
they put it towards the mats as well, so it's $7,000-8,000 mats, right?
It'll be about $7,000.
So, and
Minus 2,500.
It would still, we'll get back into the camp issue. The camp raises more money than they spend, and we've always said that is their contribution, or that is what helps
Yeah,
fund recreation.
And like
It
I was
isn't
saying,
their
it's
money.
This was a
nice.
fundraising effort, now that.
And I mean,
Yeah,
I
this
feel that
is-
these
this is
mats
a
are
camp.
outdated, they're hard, it's,
Yeah, well, I understand the need for them.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is too, is like I myself as a rec director am aware that they've raised this money. If they turn it in and it ends up being a part of the general fund or whatever as a revenue, if we decide to do stuff towards the playground next year, I can manage my budget in a way that they still get the equipment.
I'm in favor of getting the mats one way or another.
Yeah.
It's a program that's run itself very nicely for a long period of time without really any financial underwriting by the town.
Yeah, and that's
So
why
I think they're very deserving, and I think the program is a good program.
So I mean, I'll make the motion if we use their money that they made for the fundraiser. Are you okay with doing it this year or do you want to wait till the next?
Wait until next
budget
year.
I'm fine with whatever. I know Coach, even though he gave it to me last minute, it'll be pretty like, disappointed that he doesn't get it right away, but we can take care of it in January.
I mean, because you took the fireworks money already and put that into the playground fund, correct?
That's in the
Yeah,
playground
that's
fund.
been,
So I mean, there's already in the fund. I say we do it now.
I say we do it now too.
I'll make a motion that we pay for the new removable
With the 2,500.
with the $25 that they raised for their fundraiser. We got to match the rest of it.
so we would allocate $5,000 from the
Yes.
beach
Yes.
salary line
Yes.
to complete the purchase of mats.
And we hadn't already pulled that money and to put it into the.
No, that came from a
That was-
different,
No,
That was all.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed?
How about a line I was confused? This is something that, we're.
There's a lot of young
It's-
kids in the
it's-
program. It was
I-
just-
it's a good
That I
program.
understand totally, but there still is a methodology on the way you do things.
And that was my thing.
Right, that's why I would have preferred it went over to next year's budget. Because right now, we have to transfer money by resolution or by, vote into that law, that money from your salary line, you have to transfer it over into your equipment line in order to do this.
Yeah, I'm aware, and that's why.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's my reason for just balking, not because kids don't need the mats. And, and also I'm a little confused on the history of the wrestling club.
I can give you Coach's number and he'll tell you all about it.
I'm sure.
Or just better yet, just show up a Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll go with.
No, I'd like a line drawing, it
so
started
cute.
here and it went to here and that. The last I remember is when we gave the approval to this club to use the basement of the community center for their activities. And I never remember it being a formal part of the town's recreation.
So when I came in as director, I was told by my predecessor that it is a town program. And so we ran all the registration for the kids through that. And then they operate as a Team USA sanctioned wrestling club.
So that's all in favor?
Well, you put a question mark, like an iffy thing for Dawn.
I'll abstain
You
because I
can
don't
abstain. Yeah.
totally understand.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Before we go on to animal control, the assessors are here, and I thought you had a report to make.
Basically, no, what's gonna happen is I've given our latest offers on two
Oh,
properties that are gonna, one of them's definitely gonna be appraisal on, we're still planning that, and the other one is a suggestion. This is for Warren to use as tools to try to get a settlement prior to the process.
okay,
That's it.
that's it?
You will let us know about
Okay. Thank you, Rich.
it. That's it.
Sorry, it took so long. Bye. All right, dog control. The biggest thing for dog control this month is to renew the contract with the vet, the Pine Plains vet, and their price did go up. Boarding charges will increase from $22 per dog per day to $25 per dog per day.
I think that's pretty standard anyway.
Yeah,
I make a motion that we renew our contract with the Pine Plains vet to board our dogs, or the dog wardens, dogs. that brings us.
can I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. He had 4 office patrol meeting and training hours and no complaints or missing dogs. So we're on to old business. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am going to put the ARPA money, which is 100 and what we received this year is half of what the American Rescue Plan money is. So we received 123,384.25. Michael Torsha tells me we need to encumber that. So I'm going to go over to Salisbury Bank next week and set up an account that is just for that. And then this coming year in 2022, probably around May or June, another 123,384.25 is going to come in. That money needs a plan. There's paperwork to do with how we spend it. And the plan needs to be submitted by April. So the decision as to what to use that money for has to be made by April.
Of 2022.
Of 2022. It's infrastructure only. It's been very confusing as to how we are allowed to use it. Everyone will tell you that they've been kind of like this week it's this, next week it's completely different, but they've settled on basically you can't go wrong if it's infrastructure. But if you can't, it's easy to kind of screw up too. It has to be only spent on something very specific.
And is there a date by which it has to be spent?
Yes, it has to be spent by 2024 or has to be
You know, that I don't- I'm not
earmarked.
sure.
I believe it has to be
Probably just earmarked.
earmarked. We have to know.
And
what
if you
we're-
put in for one particular kind of infrastructure and then change your mind, is that like you can't do that?
I don't know the
I
answer to
bet
that.
you can change your mind. That would be.
Do you have the guidelines on that?
In my office somewhere, yeah.
Could you email me a copy of it?
Sure.
Let me take a look at it. I need to.
Because that's really not that much time to
Yeah,
make
that's
a
not-
decision on
No.
something. I mean, we do have a water project that we could do
Mhm.
that is kind of a favorite of mine because it's kind of definable and it's a good project. So that's something we can think about.
Yeah.
And it would, I think it's somewhat in that cost area. Was it what?
Well, actually, the water district has funds available. I believe it's a little over four.
It's about 400,000.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would get us, down 82 South, to at least Smith Street.
So that's
again,
kind of what I've been thinking about.
Right, and again, whether the town wants to take on additional to get it all the way down to.
And that would just mean getting bond of some kind, right?
Correct.
Yep, fine, okay.
Okay. Then I copied a resolution that Warren wrote to create the town beautification committee. And it just basically says that we had a beautification committee in order to design and renovate the corner park. And now we would like to make that a continuing thing that is also responsible for other public spaces. And we talked about this at the last meeting, at our workshop meeting.
We are looking for members.
We're looking for members. I actually have all 7 members. So I would like to propose those people also. But the term is, there are 7 members that, and we did the same thing with,
Wait, you already have the 7 people picked?
yeah,
Well, we talked about it on Monday, on
they
Monday. You should-
they all wrote me.
Yeah, but we should also give other people a chance. to
Okay,
write, you know?
well,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I say that we do the picking of the people at a rework meeting.
Okay, I've got letters from 7 people.
Okay.
Okay.
But I, feel,
That's fine.
because that was, I feel a few more people should be able to chime in.
Okay.
But we will create.
That we can
perhaps
still
resolve
create.
ourselves.
We need to
this.
create the committee.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
So I make a motion that we reestablish the beautification committee as a permanent committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's-
Okay.
I don't think, do we need a voice vote on that? No.
Okay. Great. And we wanted to talk about, we've talked about this before, was getting a sign for to put up on the empty lot. For
Future home of
future
Pine Plains
possible home of a town hall. I just need approval to order that and I'll do it.
That's a nice idea.
I think we should do
I
it.
think it gives us hope.
Well, it also shows that, you know, a purpose of what it's gonna be. People don't have to guess.
Right.
Will it be the interim home of a community garden?
A
and
community
also
garden.
We do
parking
not know
lot?
yet.
That's something to discuss.
It exceeds our sign size, so Drew wouldn't approve it.
I like the idea of the sign, but I don't want to make any other decisions on what it's gonna be. I could also wait on the sign. How much is the sign gonna be? Do we have any?
I
what it's gonna
think
look
it's
like?
premature.
Yeah, I say we wait, because I would like to know what it's gonna look like before I say. But I like the idea of a sign. Nice thermometer right next to it.
No, absolutely. Not unless you have one of those Himalayan flapping signs for Sarah there.
Okay.
Fundraising.
Yeah.
I wanted to relegate number one in new business to executive session so that we can talk about some of these things.
But shouldn't we do the reappointment of the town clerk right now?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
That
I
needs to
do.
get done because there's a gap.
She's got, yeah.
Right.
And
Is
she
it
needs
really?
to swear us all in.
But no, well, the judge can do that. Actually,
Yeah,
you're a
Dave-
notary, you can do that.
Yeah.
When we appointed Madeline, do we appoint her for the duration?
No, just for the end of the year.
We did, that's, okay, I just didn't remember that we put a limit on it.
No,
until
it
the
was
next
just for the end
election.
of the year. That's all we could do. And there was some confusion about whether she could run this year or not.
Right,
And so that got cleared up, but there was
okay, well, I
confusion. around it.
thought we had appointed her until she could run.
No, just
Oh,
to
well,
the
it
end of the year.
Doesn't matter.
So
So,
there's a gap between this and the reorg.
correct.
Yeah, so I move that we reappoint Madeline through until the reorg meeting. That's all that's necessary.
Second from Mr. Zick.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Patricola land donation. So they would like to donate. Now I'm looking backwards. This thing here. So this is Ruth's house. And 12 North Main's here. And so this is North Main Street, right this way. And Ruth's land runs straight back, and here's Graham Brush. But they own this triangle, and they have nothing on it. They can't use it. People throw garbage back there, and they would like to donate it to the town.
That's definitely not where their septic is currently.
No,
No, this is a proposed site plan. And so those lines and everything else have to be confirmed by
oh, I'm sure, but
a
that,
survey.
yeah,
I mean, and so we can't even really talk about it until we really know what's there. There is a septic system out in the back, and we don't know what it
back
consists of
here or back here,
under the parking lot.
under the parking lot.
And we don't know where it is back there. There is a manhole, I think,
There
for
is.
the septic system.
That's what Doug Weaver is indicating.
Because, it was all written up in the original agreement.
I believe Doug had done some work on that years ago.
I'm pretty sure, because it was covered over, I believe, originally, and then they put it in. But I mean, it's premature. I have no problem with doing it, but we're relying on this drawing as being the actual as-built, and it's not.
Yeah, that's fine, but I just want to
Yeah,
tell you
right.
that he wants to
Absolutely. Why
donate.
would we not do that?
Yeah.
And it's a boundary line adjustment. So the thing is, what if it's in his expansion area with the health department? And now if we get a sewer system, there's no question. But it really is a boundary line adjustment, which the planning board should weigh in on.
Okay.
His system probably predates the need for this.
what if it fails? I mean, that's. So, I mean, I
So
just,
this should go to the planning board, is that?
well, when I would think so. And just to see, at least to have them weigh in on it, but we can't.
Ray said it was not a standalone parcel, so if it's part of an existing parcel, and we're gonna take it over, it will require planning board approval.
Right.
Okay, so I should give it
It's
to
a lot
the,
line adjustment. It goes to the
Right.
planning board.
okay,
Makes
Maybe
sense.
just reach out to Lyndon Chase to see whether he has the survey for that, because I'm assuming that most likely he would have been the one that had the survey on all of his properties.
We would just merge
Did you draw this?
like these with our-
I think it was based off of a Lyndon, no, I don't think I did way back when, but I think it was based off of a Lyndon Chase survey. My initials there?
Oh, yeah, Ray
Look at
Jackowski.
that. 94.
That's a lot of time.
kindergarten day.
Yeah.
You were a
did it.
kid when you
Yeah.
did that.
But I mean, like,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because I believe that this is actually based off of a survey that was done by.
Oh, I'm
Lyndon
sure it
Chase.
is.
Yeah, so if we could
But
get the
the
survey,
as-built-
that would be a help.
but
That's
the
from
the
Chase.
as-built
Yeah.
isn't. it?
Understood, right.
Right, now, none of
Some-
this is in.
From
it.
94.
94,
And,
okay.
That's
you
what
know,
it
but
says.
there is a manhole in here someplace.
I thought it was back in here.
I don't know where, I have no.
Under the charging station.
I don't think it's in the grass though, over in there.
No, it's under the parking lot.
Right, but the land is on the grass, I'm pretty sure. Isn't that grass, that triangle?
But I don't really think, well, I don't. Without, as I
Right.
say, it's a planning board function.
Great.
And I have no problem with taking it because it doesn't make a non-conforming lot out of it.
All
I
right.
don't think, so there's
Yeah, we
there's several
can't create a
questions.
non-conforming lot.
I'm sorry.
We can't create a non-conforming lot, but.
Right,
So
that's-
we'd have to merge it with the rest of the property.
No, but what I
it's a
mean
very
is
Simple process before the.
We're not creating a non-conforming lot in the original lot. By taking this off, we can't take less than.
How many acres is the?
Well, that I don't know.
It's not that large.
Oh, it's just a
It's
little
small.
piece of.
No, we're talking about how the
The other
size of
lot.
the parent lot.
It must be at least
Oh.
a half acre.
Well, that must be, it's.
Well, again,
I don't
that's why
think-
I can show you one of the must-be's, which has got a building on it, which is town property.
We'll put it in the, just put it in the planning board's hands and they'll report back.
Okay, great, thank you. The only other things here are, the sexual harassment training is mandated to be every year.
Mhm.
My college does it every year. The school does it every year. We all have to do it every year. There's no consequence for not doing it, which doesn't back us up when we're harassing our employees to come take the training. And so I don't know exactly what to do about that. But it's left up to us as to how we want to handle it, because we called HR at the county and asked what other towns are doing. And they said everybody does whatever they want. There wasn't any, there's no consequences for not getting it
And
done.
how many non-compliances do we have?
4 or 5 right now.
I'm not included in that, right? Because
You're not
I took mine and they did not confirm that I was there. I sent them several.
I did mine today.
If you have to do it for your other job, you can submit the certifications. That's what I do because I have to take it for the college. So, but I just feel like it doesn't help the secretary or the supervisor to police this, so to speak, or oversee it, if there isn't some kind of something. Now, I can't even imagine what that would be, but
I think the statute, I have a file on that, I have to check on that, but I think the statute requires the municipality to pass a local law or regulation requiring that the the sexual harassment training be taken by all your employees, including planning board, zoning board members. And that's the way you put the penalty if they don't do it. I think we had an issue with one planning board member, if I remember.
Yeah.
And I think we started thinking about, I can pull my file out.
Okay,
About changing our our employee manual to require that.
okay,
There's language that we can put in, and that's where the teeth is, because it's not in the state law. I
No.
don't think it's in the state law.
okay, that'd be great, Warren.
Yeah, let me check on that.
Okay. And then the last thing here is that the reorg will be January 6th. And so we have to announce that. And with that, I would like to move that we go into executive session to discuss legal matters and some new employees and volunteers.
So what do you have? You wanted something for?
Yeah, mine.
Oh,
would be,
and Ray.
Property. The Hex Hill stabilization, I want to talk about that. Could wind up in potential litigation. I'm hoping not. I'd like to talk to you about Sisson Farms for a moment. There was something else, but I'm not sure. I'll think of it when I get it.
Okay.
Right.
And I just have an employee.
Okay.
That is,
Are we making any decisions from that on?
yes, Natalie needs to stay.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a
I'm sorry.
motion by Cloud, I need a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.